Well, good afternoon and welcome to our new knowledge session today. My name is Sandy Ratliff. I'm with Virginia Community Capital, and I am happy to be a part of this program with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the town of Abington. Just a little housekeeping before I turn it over to my co-host today. Just wanted to let you know that this session is being recorded for education and training purposes and will be available on the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator's Facebook page, also on the Chamber's page, and Virginia Community Capital's Facebook page, as well as we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/new knowledge, where there's probably 150 workshops that we have presented since I think we started recorded in 2015 that are available for you, as well as this one today will be on that as well. So I am happy this topic is very timely, and I'm so glad that our presenter is taking time to share his knowledge with us today. One other thing that I want to make sure is we have everyone muted. However, we want to hear from you. If you have questions for our presenter, please post those in the Q&A section, and we will address those at the end of the session, or if it's pertinent during the session. So today, my co-host is Nita Farmer with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce. And Nita, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sandy. It's great to be here today. It's really a pleasure to get to introduce Rex Carter. He is the Human Resources Generalist at Universal Fibers in Bristol, the Security Operations Specialist for Universal Fibers U.S. and Global Facilities. His background includes nearly 30 years of law enforcement experience, as well as a small business owner. Rex is active in his community through Washington County Prevention Coalition and pastors a local church in Abington. He most recently completed an Essentials in Leadership class through Harvard University and holds a bachelor's degree with a triple major in communications, economics, business management from Emory and Henry College. He and his wife have 3 children and reside in Bristol. Welcome, Rex.
You there, Rex?
I'm here. I was listening to Nita, and then she stopped on me. Are we good to go so far?
It's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us. It is certainly a privilege and an honor to be with you all. So we're going to do our best. Sometimes we're getting some messages that the internet connection may seem a little unstable. So in this presentation that you all need clarification on, or something that I can help you with, please reach out to me down here at Universal Fibers, and would love to email, chat with you, anything that I can do to help. I want to certainly be that help to you in this. This is a very important subject in today's labor market. Where are the workers? Where's the labor? And how do we keep them once we get them in the door? So we're going to spend just a few minutes today talking about that. And so if we have any technical issues, just be patient with us. Hopefully everything will stay well connected. And we tried this the other day, so just ask for your patience there. So I'm going to ask Sandy is going to run the program for us as we go through some things here. And I hope that this will be a help. Hope it will be just some good information that will maybe start some conversations at your place of employment, or maybe there's some items here that you already know, maybe something that you don't know. So again, if we can be a help to you even after the fact, please let us know. All right. So let's jump into this thing if we could for a moment. Sandy, if you want to hit the next slide for us. And I really want to share with you this quote from General George Patton. If you do much study in history, General Patton had a way with words. And this is an interesting quote: "Hold the enemy by the nose and kick him in the pants." Now, a lot of you are wondering, okay, what's that have to do with recruiting people? I thought we had to get them in the door rather than the other way. Well, listen, in today's market, employers have to be aggressive in all efforts to find quality candidates and to maintain that labor. And that's required for function and for profitability. And so Patton knew this, and he knew this aggressive tactic, even in World War II, when faced with a problem or faced with the enemy. So employers today we can see the enemy, so to speak, as well as increasing unemployment rates. We could see the enemy as maybe this pandemic or the unemployment benefits that have been paying out, the costs associated with hiring people in today's market. We find that the costs are increasing for entry-level pay rates. So whatever that may be, as you may consider the quote-unquote enemy, well, we are no longer in a workforce where we have to just sit back and the labor comes to us. We've got to be aggressive in our plan. And so let me ask you, Sandy will hit the next slide for us. So what is your system? What is it that you do with your company? We know that recruiting and retention, those are key components, and that must be integrated within your company's system. So you ask yourself this question: you're a small business owner. I work here for a manufacturing company. Do you have a system? And that good system will include your work processes, your compensation, the benefits, the whole package from safety and training. What are your HR policies, procedures? Do you have good supervision? And do you have good working conditions? Now, that's just your basic foundation. So the basic foundation is, do we have that system in place, and is recruiting and retention built within it? It's unfortunate that there are some companies that exist today that they don't take an active approach in constantly recruiting good quality candidates, and we see them struggle. And so, in order to be successful, in order to make that profit, in order to turn out a good product, you have to have the right applicants. They've got to be recruited and they've got to be retained. We find that our attrition rate goes up and down. It's a roller coaster. We've had trouble. I've talked with other manufacturing companies around, on a lot of calls with our legislators, and what we're finding is that this is not just us. This is not just localized. It is around the country, but we're finding that the labor is just not there like it used to be. So what does that present? It presents a challenge. Sandy, if you'll take the next slide, please. And so what is that there are a lot of rising challenges that employers are facing today. Well, unemployment benefits, we know that there is this thought process. Let's just address the elephant in the room that, hey, people are getting paid to stay home. Or it may be the other way around, that people are learning a different way to work and they're working from home. Compensation. Does anybody know what minimum wage is these days? I mean, I don't know that it can be actually defined, because we find that the minimum wage level is changing so much in employers. It becomes so much of a competition now, because if one company is offering 13 an hour, another offers 14 an hour, another's offering 15 an hour. And so we find people jumping from job to job. So that's a challenge. What about the accelerated exit of baby boomers? Yeah, let's talk about that. We've got an older generation still in the workforce that as they are beginning to retire. What's happening now? Are we replacing that labor, and at what rate? Counteroffers. We see a lot of people getting into a bidding war for employees. You pay 15, I'll pay 15.50. You pay 16, and so on. We look at the training of new hires. I'm not sure about you guys, but it costs X number of dollars to train somebody, and depends on what department that we place an associate in. It can be anywhere from 4 weeks up to 8 weeks of training. So we're investing all of that time, the materials, everything into these people, and then to see them to go out the door because maybe our retention shouldn't be what it is, or they're leaving for various reasons. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little later on. We're in a different age to where it's not the typical, I go to work and I stay at work and I do my work and then I go home, my 8 to 5, 9 to 5, or my 12-hour shifts. But we're finding a younger generation that seems to want that more flexibility, that more adaptability to their schedule. And so that's a challenge for a lot of places, especially like us, that we have dedicated shifts and we need people here for that. So that may be something that your company is facing as well. Do you have that flexibility in the scheduling to meet the needs? We're also looking at a multi-generational workforce and adapting to that. We've got people who have been in the workforce for a long time, and we've got people that are just now coming on board. You say, well, that's always been the issue. Well, when you begin to think about it, and you begin to think about, we do see people from different ages. We've actually seen an older population re-entering the workforce because maybe their company did not, or maybe their company closed their doors. They sent them back to school. They've got a different degree. Now we're finding older applicants come. But here's the thing: where are the candidates connected? If your company doesn't have some way to reach out to candidates through online, social media, digital services, may be missing the boat there in trying to find good people. What we're also finding as well is there's an increase in our Hispanic and Latino population. And so not only do we have the need for fully integrated digital services, but also for communication needs as well. Do you have people on staff, or do you have ways to reach people with a different cultural background and the language challenge there? Employees are wanting more benefits. We see that, and it's becoming apparent that benefits are a top consideration for workers. So I ask you, in this list of challenges, what is your company's standard for benefits? Are you offering something that somebody else isn't? So if you're trying to recruit people, they want to know, yes, what money am I putting in my pocket? But more than just a paycheck, what are you going to do for that person and that person's family? How are you going to provide for some benefits there? And the last survey, one of the recent surveys done by Glassdoor showed there was about 57% of the workers cited that benefits and perks were their top reasons for accepting a job. So are we competitive in offering more benefits? When you think about the Gen Z, the Gen X, the millennials, and all of that, their needs are going to be different than what a more traditional workforce may be. So to identify that, I think will really help you in meeting the challenges of recruiting good people. Workplace culture has changed a lot over the years. And really over the last few years, we've seen that people do not want a toxic company culture. That can lead to high turnover and low morale. So when you begin to study your company's system and you begin to maybe survey your folks, now, you may be a small business and only have 2 or 3 people. You may be a medium-sized business with a couple of hundred. You may be a large industry that may have several thousand people. No matter the size, you've got to understand is that workplace culture, buying into the needs of the people and meeting those needs, that is going to be key. So ask yourself the question, are we meeting the needs of our employees? We find that there's a big push these days on focusing on wellness. There's a lot of value placed on health and wellness. We just opened a 1,000 square foot medical clinic here at Universal. We're very proud of that. We worked very hard that we can offer to our associates at no cost to them access to a nurse practitioner. So that really takes the burden off of our associates of having to go to urgent care to get a prescription or to get some labs done. And so that's a huge benefit that we are very, very proud of. Of course, again, the digital services, where are your employees connected, but where are the applicants as well? So let's talk about that for a moment. Sandy, if we're still good on our connection, if you'll go to the next slide for us. So what does work? Well, let's go back to the days of grabbing the newspaper and flipping through to the classifieds and the one ads and all that. This is an older approach, but it is still a valuable medium that we find. The readership, we know from paper in hand, has been declining yearly. The days of newspaper, it seems like it's almost done. So newspapers are getting competitive, pushing everything to digital ads, things that are online for them, and then open up more avenues, because we all know, I'm sure everybody who watches this, if you're going to watch this today, or you're going to catch us on YouTube later or anything like that, you're going to find that everybody, it seems like, and I say everybody, very broad-based term, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on Snapchat. So does your company have those tools in the toolbox? Look, folks, I did a search the other day. My wife and I were looking at couches. So I'm on the cell phone, I'm on the computer, and we're talking about Grand and talking about Ashley, and we're looking at what kind of furniture store. Not that we need another couch. We're talking about getting a sectional or something like that, right? Do you know how many ads that I saw for furniture that come up on Facebook? I mean, this is crazy. And this is, I mean, from politics. Look, we're in the middle of the political season in Virginia for governor and all that. So you see the political ads. And so if you don't have that social media presence, you're missing the mark. Now, you got to be careful, understand that. But applicants, it's all about name recognition, folks. And so if you're recruiting people and you're not on social media or you're not using online services, you're missing out. Look, we do the signs, Universal Fibers. We've got the little yard signs out. We've got the banners out. We're still doing things in the newspaper. Why? Because we want that foundation of trying to reach everybody that we can to fulfill the needs and the openings we have. On the chat, there's a question. What are some of the positions that are hard to fill, and do you find the majority are entry level? For us, it is. For our manufacturing environment, we do find that our entry level positions are the hardest to fill. We've got a very, very good retention rate when it comes to our mid-level to upper level personnel, those who've been here a long time. But we're finding the entry level, and that's where a lot of people tend to be job hopping, I think. And I see applications come across my desk every day. And you look at the work history, and what are we finding, folks? They're finding they've got, they're young people, 18, 20, 25 years old, and they've already got 5 or 10 different jobs in their work history. So that is entry level is where we're finding the biggest need. Well, but those people we're finding, we just did a big push with Indeed. The last couple of months or so, we've done a couple little programs. I say programs. What's the right word I'm looking for? Somebody might have to help me. We did a big push, hiring push, and we used Indeed, and we tried that in ZipRecruiter, and it turned out very well for us. We saw a lot of applicants come in, and we screened a lot, and we are about to turn the corner. Knock on wood. I say that today, so don't call me tomorrow and ask how it is. But at least today, we may be turning the corner on meeting our labor needs because of what we're doing. LinkedIn is not a bad online service, but it's not a great recruiting tool. I think somebody you may have your own, and that's fine. There are dozens of online services. But here's the thing, folks, word of mouth. Word of mouth works great. Referral program. We do an incentivized referral program where if you refer someone, you get some cash up front. If that person is here, going to retention. If that person is here for 6 months with good attendance, both the referring associate and the new hire are both given a bonus. You say, well, you're paying people to stay to work. Pretty much. I mean, that's what it is, folks. I just call it like I see it, and that's the world we're in, to incentivize that referral program. How many products have you bought in your life that have been because of word of mouth? Because you wanted to know, hey, where did you find that car, or that truck, or it could be anything. What's your favorite flavor of Doritos? I don't know, but something. Pick anything. And word of mouth. And we will take the word of another friend over maybe reading an article about the job. So it's really been working well for us. We've also reached out to employment temp staffing agencies. They are good resources for job seekers, these local offices, and we've done very well there as well. That's just like a roller coaster, though, because if we're not seeing people come through the door, then your staffing agencies, they're not seeing people come through the door either. Of course, think about for us, the Virginia Employment Commission, Tennessee Department of Labor. We have a lot of contact with those agencies as well. And then, of course, hey, pay to stay, sign-on bonuses. Is that a good recruiting tool? You're going to have people some's going to debate that. It's good. Some's going to say bad. But what do you have in your budget? Can you afford that? Because look, that's going to be be eating into the profit margin if you're paying somebody $500, $1,000, $2,000, whatever it may be. I know the hospital just recently, Ballot, I was seeing some ads. It's been a little while back. Maybe you guys have seen it a little quicker than I have, or it's been more recent. But $2,000, $3,000 sign-on bonuses for nurses. And so look, companies are willing to pay. So ask yourself that question: are you willing to pay someone a sign-on bonus to come work? Well, you've got to wage that against your profit margin and the cost of training and all of that. But again, these are just some of the tools that we have been finding, that we've been reaching out to find people. And so this is not a one-shot deal. I cannot just rely on finding applicants based on newspaper ads. Does a newspaper ad help? It does. But while that may not be our strongest pull, we still want stuff on social media. We still want stuff out on Indeed or ZipRecruiter. We still want the referrals. So when I say you go back to George Patton's quote, it really is that aggressive of approach. And that's the world that we're in. And if your company is not being aggressive in the recruiting by touching every point out there, then I think you're really beginning to miss the mark. Let's look at the next slide. And let me ask you, what about your key performance indicators? When you begin to find out what it is on how you can track and measure how you are beginning to find and to strategize. And I don't know, are we still good, Sandy? If you can hear me, if you can go to the next slide. I don't know if you're still on there or not. We may be lagging, I'm not sure. Did we lock it up this time, Sandy? All right, as she's working on that, really just real quick, folks, just ask you this question. When you think about recruiting, you've got to think about what are some of your key performance indicators or KPIs. So your KPIs become the way that you measure success. Your key performance indicators for recruiting. What's the number of qualified candidates for the job posting? If I make a post in the newspaper and I only get 2 people as opposed to 30 on Indeed, then that's something I want to start thinking about as far as measuring my success on my recruiting strategies. Not that I'm going to just completely disregard the newspaper, but I'm going to push more effort into Indeed. What about the time to hire? How quick are we going into this? Do I need to fill 10 slots in the next 5 days? Do I need to fill 30 slots in 30 days? What's the time frame that I'm going there? How quick are people accepting jobs? And here's a key thing, folks, I want you to understand that I found is that people are coming in the door. I will ask them, so are you currently where? No, I'm not working at all. So my placement rate, they're accepting. There it goes. Thanks, Andy. So my placement and the acceptance rate, that is key. You know, if I have somebody who's off the street and ready to and where's my money better spent? Okay. So just some thoughts right there. All right, Sandy, if we can, let's catch the next for recruiting goals. I'm not going to spend real long on this one. It's still working for us. All right, as she gets the next slide, what you're going to see, folks, and again, if you want a copy of this slide, let me know, reach out to Sandy. She'll have it as well that you can go back and look through. What we find is that there's different acronyms. Indeed.com puts this one out called the SMART Goal Setting Framework. And to follow the SMART program, it is just the acronym SMART. So in your recruiting goals, in your company, ask yourself, do we have a goal of X number of associates that we need? Okay, so be specific. Start by defining your goal. Are you starting out, let's say if you're, for example, as the slide will show, are you giving, you got a new marketing team that you're developing? Well, what is that goal? How many people do you need to recruit to interview and so on? And then measurable. What's the specific KPIs, your key performance indicators to measure that goal? If you need, if your hiring process is 30 days, but you need to back it up to 14 days, that's going to change. It's going to change your KPI because now your time frame has changed. What about achievable? So SMART, specific, measurable, achievable. Make sure you have the resources you need to accomplish the goal. Do you have a recruiting budget? If not, then maybe you got to go to what's free or what's cheap. And of course, that takes you back to social media. Realistic. Is your goal aligned with other business objectives? If you need to hire a certain number of associates by a certain date, is that aligned with the entire business? For example, we may have to have 100,000 pounds of material run within the next 5 days. Do we have the labor for that? Is my recruiting goal going to be X number of employees to meet that demand or not? So think about this. Think about it, folks. Is it going to be a realistic goal? And then your time-based, when will you accomplish that goal? So we find then that if it is achievable, hey, then it's going to be a smart thing to do, right? All right. How are we doing on our slide? Sandy, you still there? Good to go? All right. If you can catch the next slide for us.
Rex,
Yes.
this is Nita.
Hey, Nita.
We have someone that has posed a question. Can I read that to you?
Yes, please.
Okay. What are some of the positions that are hard to fill? Is first part of the question. The second part is, do you find the majority are entry level?
Yes, we do. Those are entry level positions. Those are typically the biggest needs that we have. Our entry level machine operator positions. And every day we are gauging the numbers of our projected labor needs. So when you look at that key performance indicator, we have to project ahead. And this is kind of the crazy part of the game. And maybe if you guys that are on this call, maybe you don't have to play the projection game, but for us, what we have to do is we have to know what the sales are, what the orders coming in, and we have to project what that labor is needed to be able to run X number of thousands of pounds of material. And so for those who are well established in the workforce, because they know it's a good company to work for, they're good with the benefits, they're good with the pay, there's that job satisfaction, all that into play. We'll talk about in retention in just a moment. Then we find that, hey, they're going to stay. But the biggest need that we have are entry level. And what we're finding is that main labor workforce is not there like it used to be. People are job hopping. They're not satisfied with something in the job itself, whether you want rewards, whatever. Then they're out the door. So that's what I want to get to on the retention aspect.
Rex, I just want to let you know I'm having computer issues and it will not let me unmute.
All right. Are you able to forward the slides or no?
They should be up. It's showing up on mine.
Okay. Yeah, I can see we're at the recruitment continued portion. So for those of you watching, you want to go just back to live screen, Sandy?
Unfortunately, it won't let me.
Y'all just love technology. All right, so for those of you on this call, this is going to be the most boring slide you're going to get to stare at for a while. So we'll give Sandy a moment, and so I'm going to just push on with some information. So hey, take a few notes, and then we'll have all this ready to go for you. And I've got this PowerPoint slide, so if anybody needs it for a little later, or if you want to chat about it, no issue. We'll send it to you. We'll send you a link, or Sandy has it, and so we'll take it off from there.
Rex, unfortunately, I'm locked up. My computer won't even escape or anything. And if I stop, I'll stop the feed.
Oh, okay. All right. Don't worry about it then. Just hold tight where you are. We'll go from there. So, all right. Wonderful technology. Don't you all love it? Our life depends on it. And then here we are again. All right. So, hey, let's talk about retention real quick, because I think that's while recruiting is important, retention is just as important. And so share this with you that employee retention needs to be top of mind for any company. So as you guys understand this, that it's one thing to hire, but then you got to keep them, right? So in that, how do we do that? Well, it's I did some research, and of course the numbers can be skewed just a little bit, but SHRM says it runs about $20,000 to $30,000 in recruiting and training to replace a manager that's making $40,000 a year. So you figure whatever the salary is, you're going to spend half that just trying to get somebody in the door. Now, understand this is that 77% of the reasons behind employee departures are preventable. So we have to have that communication with people, and that's the thing. The key is to pinpoint the issues that may be driving employees to leave and then address them before it's too late. And if you don't have open communication with your employees, then really it's going to be pretty tough. It's going to be tough on how to address any issues that may be coming up, which means the building blocks to retention. So let's talk about that for a moment. So I'm going to give you 8 key building blocks. So if you're on the Zoom call, and I know we've got the computer difficulties, so no issues there. We're going to adapt and overcome. So write these down real quick and give them to you, little bullet points for you. Number one building block to retention, of retaining employees, is to build employee engagement. Build that employee engagement. In other words, do the employees have a voice? If you're a type of company that comes in and you're just, man, this is the law and I'm laying it down and this is the only way it's going to be, and you get no feedback at all, that's going to be some employees, their time there's going to be short-lived. But if you give employees a voice and they feel like they're part of the entire solution, you're going to find that employees are going to feel more. They may be right, they may not be right. You don't know. They maybe you as the supervisor, you've got the right answer, or it may be the other way around. But be willing to listen and have that employee engagement. So do you do weekly meetings, monthly meetings? Are you a company that can get on a Zoom call with others? Maybe you're just a small business and it's just you and 2 other folks. Hey, grab a cup of coffee and sit down and talk about things and get their feedback on that workplace environment. Number 2, get recognition and rewards right. Get this right. You build a culture of recognition, and that will go a long way in retaining employees. We do an Associate of the Month program. We do a Customer Care Hero of the Month. We look for those people who are making a huge contribution, not only to the production of the material we make, but also are they going above and beyond what their job description is. And so we'll do that both from a social standpoint and a monetary standpoint. We post them up on our internal sites of, hey, this is our Associate of the Month. They get a monetary award, good parking place, all the good stuff. And so when the associates or the employees feel like they are being recognized for the work they do, hey, we all know that pat on the back every now and again makes a big difference. So we want to stick with that and get that recognition, get the rewards right, and build that culture of recognition. Number 3, building block to retention. The third thing is to recruit the right employees. I'll put this out there for you all to consider. Have you thought about or getting outside the box and looking for applicants? In other words, we have made a big push to our local high schools. And now what we're looking for are those seniors who are graduating, who may not desire to go on to college. They want to get right into the workforce. And so we reach out to the high schools for prospective applicants there. I've even reached out to friends of mine because of my background in law enforcement, to my friends in probation and parole. And I look for those second chance people, those people who they've served their time, they've made the right choices to get their life back on track. They've gone through all their programs. They've done everything on their counseling, and they are good to go. And they just need that second chance I am more than glad to sit down and talk about employment opportunities with those folks as well. Number 4, positive onboarding experience. When somebody walks in, do you remember your first day at work at the job you're at, or the very first job you ever had? What was the key for somebody to build that connection with you? Did somebody go above and beyond to reach out to make that connection to say, hey, you know what? Look, my name's Rex, and I do some HR work here. And do I get to know you a little bit better? And I'm asking questions and all that. So you began to build that connection early on, and that's a positive onboarding experience. That goes a long way to retaining people when they know that you do care. And look, it's not just, okay, give me your name and your address and where you live, but what interests do you have? Where'd you go to school? And you kind of get to know people, and the more that you know about them, you build that connection. They feel like they can come to you if there are problems or issues. And so I think it's a key thing. Number 5, the professional development opportunities. We push a promote from within mentality. And so in your company, do you do the same thing? If you interview an applicant and they're like, hey, my goal is to come in, contribute, make the difference, but then I want to work my way up the ladder, and your company doesn't promote from within, that may be a short-lived associate there. However, if you say, all right, look, for us, you start as a machine operator, you promote up to team leader, assistant manager, superintendent, all the way up. People that want to go far, they will thrive on that. And so you have that development opportunities. But more so than just promotions, what about enhancing that culture of learning? In other words, we have somebody who may be very skilled in dealing with HVAC issues, and maybe we want to invest some money, send them to some classes to up that skill a little bit. Also, number 6, offer winning incentives, and it can be a quarterly bonus program. We do quarterly bonuses as well as sign-on bonuses as well. And so we are rewarding the people for a safe work environment, quality product, good labor retention, and all of that. So we've got a formula that we put in place to help people to get the most out of that quarterly bonus. And it's a winning incentive, right? If they know they're going to get extra money, why not? So put that in your toolbox. Also, number 7, this is one that I will mention. I've mentioned before, and this will really for the pot, so to speak. So if I step on somebody's toes on this one, here you go. Number 7, manage to retain. I don't know how many companies I've seen that their managers are bosses and they're not coaches. Our managers need to be coaches. You have to have a good relationship between the manager and the associate. And you cannot have a manager coming in and being the dictator and the boss and just beating them over the head saying this. Look, maybe that's appropriate for some work environments, but we are living in a different day where your managers have to be coaches. Does your mid-level supervision, do they go to manager training? Are they aware of what it takes to cultivate that work environment that fosters that good working culture? Well, if they don't, and you've got a bad manager, then guess what you're going to have? Your retention is going to drop because people don't leave jobs, they leave bad managers. And I've got that in a slide somewhere there toward the end. So you need to manage to retain. What's the leadership training and the background training of your managers in your company? And then number 8, promote employee wellness. Fitness challenges, hobbies, things outside of work, encourage that to your employees. Look, and they'll work their overtime and they're going to stay in here. They're going to work on and on and on and on. Look, you got to have a life outside of work. Those associates to get a hobby, do something that is outside of work. Maybe it's an activity. For example, we've got a couple of softball teams that the company sponsors. And so it gets the folks out of the plant, it gets them on the softball field, and it's just a good way to build that camaraderie. And it's not all about work. So 8 building blocks to retention. Now to tie all that together, and I'll wind this up, and then Nita, if you're still on, I know you've got another meeting to go to, and if Sandy can hear me there, then I'm gonna wrap this up. And if you've got folks who got questions, shoot them over in the chat or the Q&A, or just catch up with us a little bit later. But here's the thing: I want to just tie the retention together with the recruiting. Salary and benefits must be competitive. And it is sad to say, folks, but we're no longer in the day of just minimum wage. We know what's happening from the legislature, and we find that what the recent Glassdoor survey that I found and did some research on found that 45% of the employees who quit, the top reason is salary. Yes, it is. Is it always about the money? Not really, because benefits that are beneficial matter. And there's a good little slogan to put on a t-shirt. Benefits that are beneficial matter. Money matters. Yes, we understand that. But we're finding now that the Generation X and all these people, financial stability motivates them to stay in a job, but it's also those benefits as well. So what you're offering your employees must be comparable to other businesses in that industry. It's going to be hard for us as a manufacturing industry to say, okay, we've got $9 an hour jobs when another company just down the road is doing $14 or $15 an hour. You got to be competitive. And so you've got to have your folks that are in business, your business office, your admin, all these people, you've got to have them getting creative to find out, hey, look, we still got to make a profit. We got to pay the bills. We got to pay our people. But can we do it in a very competitive fashion? One of the last slides that you'll see on this thing, as you go back and look at it, and what I do talk about tying it together, and I go back to the one point on the building blocks is this: hire leaders. You have an associate that has the potential for leadership. That is a good hire. Get them in the door, because what you want from your staff, and whether it's, and I'll pick on, can I pick on you, Nita, just for a minute? If it's the Chamber of Commerce, or if it is if it's a gas station, if it's a mom and pop store, if it's a major industry, I don't care what business you've got, but you've got to have people who are leaders, and they are not the dictator boss from days gone by. It's about learning who people are. Do you have good leaders in your network of the workforce that give clear direction towards the future? We find that people are going to quit and walk out the door when they don't have clear direction. And so bosses don't share information. It leaves employees wondering if there's good or bad, what's happening. But a good leader lets the employees know where the company is headed. That is so important from the top all the way down. So if you're on this call, you're watching this, if you're the CEO, if you're mid-level management, if today is day one for you, whatever it is, there's got to be clear direction communicated from all levels. I can't stress that enough. Also, you've got to have people that are able to handle challenges. A leader can handle a challenge, whether it's stress on the employees, whether it is intentional, unintentional, whatever it may be, the challenges that come up. You've got to have people who can handle that. There's got to be a genuine desire also to offer high quality, both for the customer and both good leaders make the best products, offer the best products. We pride ourselves at Universal because of the quality of the product that we make, and your company should too. And so if you can generate that desire for high quality, look, bosses, let me say this, bosses are always behind the curve, scrambling to meet the minimum requirement, but leaders are always a step ahead. They're always looking for ways to make a better product and to get the best from their people. There's got to be buy-in from staff from top to bottom about the importance of people. Look, let me say it this way. Good leaders, and I've got it on the slide, good leaders consider employees their most important asset. If you don't buy into putting your all into people, I don't care what agency it is, you pick any organization. You know, my background primarily got into HR and security here was law enforcement. And I oversaw a lot of people, did a lot of assignments and all that. But one of the things I can tell you is that bosses are focused on numbers, but while leaders are focused, you can put your heart and soul into your workforce and the people, and you care about them, you're going to find retention is going to be where it needs to be, and you're going to keep those people around. But let me say this to close out, and then I've got a couple of comments on the last slide. Good leaders make employees feel confident about their ability to lead them to a good place. Do you have people in your workforce that inspires confidence? Why are people leaving jobs today is because they don't have supervisors that are inspiring confidence in their ability to learn the job and do the job, nor are they exhibiting confidence from their position to lead. And have you ever met a boss that is passive aggressive from a frustrating standpoint? Yeah, those are hard people to work for. And so that just really, I think, is important for us to understand. So the bottom line is this. And so I'm going to wrap it up, and I think we're good on the time. So Sandy, I'll turn back over to you in just a moment. But there's two statements that I make on the last slide. So as you get this, and we'll put it out there to you, is this. Number one, and the bottom line is this. Recruiting and retention is about one thing. And here's the one thing. It is all about people. Show that you care from the beginning of the process, and the people will come. If you show people that you care about them, then you're going to find they're going to stay. Then number two, show that you care during the process, and the people will stay. So as you're recruiting and you bring them on board, show people that you care, show people that you're concerned about who they are as a person, and that you want the best from them, and you expect the best from them, and they should expect the best from you. And I think that will go a long ways in helping us retain good people. So I hope this has been a help. Just a little different perspective. I know we've had some crazy technical difficulties. Maybe you're still on here. I may be the only one left. I don't know. But it's been an honor and a privilege and a pleasure. And I thank you all so much for spending time with us today. And I'd love to answer questions. And I do have email at rex.carter@universalfibers.com. And if Sandy has my contact information as well. So does Nita. So folks over the chamber, thank you all so much. I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope that this has been a help. So Sandy, if you can hear me, if you're still there.
Rex, I can. I'm on my iPad now, and I don't know how I'll close it out back on my laptop. By the way, this has never happened to me before, so it's, of course, it always has to happen with you, right? But absolutely. I really appreciate it, and I apologize for the technical issues.
No worries.
But I will share your slides with those that participated, and see what I can put up for the video on YouTube, Facebook pages. But I know I learned a lot, and it is tough times in the labor market. And I hope that the folks that have watched this or will be seeing this will take some of your suggestions to heart. I don't like having, if I want to go out to eat and I cannot go into a restaurant because they don't have enough employees, or, all of these things. It's a tough market, and you have to be creative. But I think if you treat people right, they're going to go right with you too. It's not so easy to job hop anymore.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Well, I just want to say that I found this very, very important to me because, I had my other assistant, she had to leave because her husband was relocating. So I went through Indeed, social media and everything, and I would say that I have done something a little bit different this time, and I hired a young lady that's just right out of King University that graduated in May, and I'm so excited to have her on board because she brings a lot of fresh insight for the chamber and everything, and I'm looking forward to introducing her to everyone at the breakfast tomorrow. So Rex, thank you for everything that you had on there, because it really made me feel that I was going in the right direction with what you've said. So
good deal.
Thank you
Good
for
deal.
everything that you've done.
Absolutely. And if you guys need, if we need to, I don't know, Sandy, Nita, if we need to go back and re-record because of the PowerPoint, hey, we'll set aside 30 minutes or an hour and put it together, package it a little bit better if you guys want to do that. So you tell me. I'm here to help you guys any way I can.
Well, I appreciate that.
Here's Kathy.
You anything?
Hey, Kathy.
Kathy
You see
Lowe's
Kathy?
with the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator. She's another partner in this program. But I know people, it's probably are hungry and wanting something to eat. I've got to get to another meeting, but I do want to put a plug in for our next meeting, our next new knowledge session. That'll be September the 29th. And for those of you that have iPhones, there's so much that you could do on that. So this will be focusing on iPhone tips and tricks. And our friend Jonathan Everton with Aegis IT Solutions will be leading that. So I hope you can join us. And we've got sessions coming up through June 15th of 2022. So lots of great content, and I hope you'll join us for others. And again, I apologize for the technology issues. So thanks, everybody. I hope you have a blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Rex.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. You're welcome. Good seeing everyone.
You too.